All right. Just get old and everything inches. Pause. Check 1 2. Load up the live feed and give it a quick test before we get into our options right here. All right. Just get old and everything inches. Pause. Check 1 2. Sound a little. All right. It sounds a little muffled, but just this real quick. Very least you should hear me, but yeah, when you're on a headset mic, that's usually what happens. Don't worry, next year we'll have time to or we'll have money to invest in a new mic. But anyway, guys, welcome in. I said week 9. I'm an idiot. I gotta change that title right now. I just realized that. Not week 9. It'll be week 9 tomorrow though. Week 8. So let me go back to the there we go. There we go. All right, guys. You know how we do it, late night style, week 8 emergency options and deep sleepers, where I know you guys are dying this week, absolutely fucking dying, because of the bipocalypse, because of the injuries, and what do you know? There's still guys out there to get the job done, and we're gonna go through them. We're gonna give you guys at least, I want to say, at least 2 players at each position: quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, to bail you guys out that are sitting on the waiver wire right now that I would start this week if you're in a pinch. Then we're going to run through some deep sleepers at the end of the show. Guys that are guaranteed sitting on the free agency pool under 10 to 15% owned that I believe will eventually be breakout sort of guys. Last week we absolutely nailed a freaking guy, Orande Gadsden, who's now considered a top 8 tight end in fantasy for the rest of the season. Last week he was sitting in over 75% of leagues on the waiver wire, and now he's going to be picked up and be a guy, if I'm not mistaken. I have him on my team. Where's Orande Gadsden's? And yeah, I left him on the bench league, and he had 77% owned. So we're going to go ahead and try to find that next guy this week. But before we even get close to tight ends, we're going to start off with our quarterbacks. So pull up my list here for who I like at quarterback, or just my players overall that I wrote down. I actually like a few guys this week at quarterback. My number one guy out there, if he's out there, guys, go get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's so corny. I get it. You don't want to start the guy, but last 2 weeks he's looked pretty fucking good. Sorry, I don't mean to curse, but last two, I mean, he's looked pretty good. I mean, I go, Cincinnati, but even like that Cleveland game, if you managed to snooze through that, uh, he kept everything in front of him, did a good job, made smart plays, um, and believe it or not, he's top 5 in the NFL in touchdown passes. So, uh, I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers has quietly been playing well this year. I know it's been a lot of check down. It hasn't been over a 300-yard game, so it's not exciting football by any means, but it's smart, efficient football. And I think for a bye week fill-in, he would definitely be an outstanding ad. Uh, and, obviously the narrative on top of that, it's being downplayed on his end. Oh, yeah, no big deal. Well, I'm over the Packers. Listen, you guys know more than me. Aaron Rodgers is one of the most petty MFers in the entire league. There's no, oh, it's just another team, it's just another week. I don't want to hear that stuff. This is a revenge game. There's no doubt in my mind, and I know he's gonna go out and say, the things to be the bigger man, that it's nothing. It doesn't matter. It's the Packers. I've moved on, enjoyed my time, and blah blah blah. I don't believe any of that. I think that's all bullshit. Just keep it simple, guys. That's all bullshit. He wants to go out there and embarrass the Packers, and show that, hey, you made a mistake. And I honestly think he has a decent chance to do that. I mean, when you look at Green Bay, last few games, I mean, they allowed 40 to the Cowboys. Cincinnati went in there with Joe Flacco, who just got to the team a few days before, and they put up 18, which isn't all that impressive. But you look at Cincinnati's offense before they were able to play the Steelers, who, Steel. That's another thing too. The Steelers' defense has not been good this year. You can run and throw the ball on the Steelers, and it's going to be a chance that Aaron Rodgers is playing with a negative game script, which is going to be better for fantasy sake. I do think he'd be a little bit more prone to turnover in that sake, but I think the attempts will be up, and that's probably one of the more important stats when it comes to looking at fantasy quarterbacks. You want guys with a lot of attempts. An interception is annoying, a fumble is annoying, but you can get over that with the amount of volume that these quarterbacks have. I mean, a touchdown is, four, so you'll trade an interception for a touchdown every single time. A two touchdown, two interception game could still get you 17, 18 points if it's, the volume's there when it comes to attempts. So I think with the Green Bay offense, which is starting to, get going a little bit, I think Jordan Love's been playing well respectively too. So uh, I definitely see Aaron Rodgers, as a bailout option this week with a negative game script. With the motivation to really embarrass his former team. So 50% owned, so you're probably not out there in most leagues, but if he's out there, I think Aaron Rodgers would be an outstanding bailout option this week. Now, out of all the realistic options, Penix was a guy I was looking at this week, but I just don't like this questionable with the knee, so I'm gonna have to stay off him. I think Joe Flacco is honestly probably my number one guy as well. He's 58% owned, which is kind of surprising, but you look at how he played last week, it ain't surprising. And really, the only thing that is getting in Joe Flacco's way is the fact that if he gets up by 21 points, are they really going to continue to throw the ball down the field? I mean, last week they got into a game where, and even the Green Bay game, they were behind. They were right, kind of 50-50. So that's where he had to throw 40, 45 times. But against the Jets, I mean, they don't have an offense. I mean, I don't care who the quarterback is. They're playing these games. I mean, I don't want to go on a rant about it, but like who's scared of that? The Jets playing these games. Oh, we don't know who the quarterback is. I mean, you look so freaking stupid. It's embarrassing. I mean, it was embarrassing enough when the head coach said we're going to go ask other teams around the league what we should do about our quarterback problems. I mean, you think anybody gives a fuck? I mean, you call up, what's he going to do? Call up Sean Payton, call up Dan Campbell. Hey, what do you think I should do with, my starting quarterback? I mean, they got their own teams to worry about. You're going to actually tell people that you're going to go ask teams across the league what you should do with your quarterback problems. I mean, that was insane. But it's been all Looney Tunes with the Jets this past week in the quarterback. I mean, you had Woody coming out basically slamming Justin Fields, which I thought was totally uncalled for, and I kind of agree with what he said, but that was totally ridiculous as well. Um, so it's all a mess, with the Jets, but they don't have an offense. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is; they don't have an offense. So um, the Bengals don't have a defense, but it's with how bad the Jets offense is. I mean, the Jets were struggling to score against the Cowboys defense, and it was got to a point where, they finally scored when the Cowboys played prevent and just took the pressure off of them. And that was when they were up 30-3. So I honestly, Cincinnati could do the same thing. Flacco's dealing early. Excuse me, I try to hold back a yawn. But dealing early to Chase, dealing early to Higgins. Uh, I could see, some early production, but just that overall game volume, that's might be where you run into trouble. Now, I'll give you one more guy if you're in the deeper leagues, and honestly, I do think Tyrod Taylor's going to start. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Woody probably, influenced Aaron Glenn into this decision. Um, but if he does, I actually kind of like him versus Cincinnati for a 15 point per game type of player, just because Cincinnati's defense, but you know, no Garrett Wilson. It's not a sexy option at all. I mean, Tua, you just can't start Tua. I mean, Tua's just been absolutely garbage the last 2 weeks. So that's pretty much it at quarterback. I mean, that's all your options. But Joe Flacco would probably be my top option. Now let's go over to running backs where we're gonna have to start digging a little bit because it's not looking good. But first guy out there, if he's still out there, I think you need to get a serious league. Kyle Manungai, he's finally over 50% owned, but Kyle Manungai should be owned in every single league at this point. 13 carries last week. I mean, it's pretty obvious that, Ben Johnson wants this guy to be the bruiser. He wants him to be his David Montgomery, Jamal Williams in between the tackles runner. And that's a fantasy viable role. I mean, obviously, you'd rather have Swift and, who's the more sexy, elusive, pass catching, outside zone type of back who can make it more explosive plays. But Monangai is going to get the goal line work. He's going to be the guy that's going to get 10 or 15 touches a game. And, if you're in a pinch, absolutely, you take that on your team all day. And, Swift has been dealing with some knick-knack injuries here and there. So if he's out there, I doubt he's out there at this point, but make sure you guys get on Kyle Manungai. My realistic number one option out there, who's only on 29% of leagues, is Isaiah Davis. Brees Hall's coming into the game with a little bit of a knee injury, so I think, this might be a game where they want to give Isaiah Davis a little bit of a tryout before they go into the bye and see if they want to move Brees Hall. I don't think Brees Hall will get moved at the end of the day just because there really isn't a market for him. And, if you're the Jets, you're going to take a fourth, fifth round pick. Excuse me, even talking about him gets me sleepy. But, I mean, if you're the Jets, are you going to move a fourth or fifth round pick for Brees Hall? I mean, is that what you're going to take back in return? What's the point of that? So, um, I think, there's a chance just because he wants out of there. And I mean, it's an 0-7 team, so they might just start selling assets, whatever they got. So Isaiah Davis could come into play, and then you take on two more factors. Number one, he's coming into the game nicked up with a knee injury, and number two, the Bengals' run defense is pretty weak. So there's some ways Isaiah Davis can possibly carve out 10 points here. He's getting a lot of receiving work too, which is pretty interesting. I mean, 4 targets in 2 of the last 3 games. So um, the guy's shown he's going to get some checkdowns. I think you're kind of rooting for Tyrod Taylor to be the starter because that's where the more checkdowns are going to come. Fields doesn't really check the ball down just because he's just going to take off and run. But Taylor, he'll check the ball down and see what his younger guys can do because he doesn't have that scrambling in him. But Zay Davis is a very, very solid option out there. Another option, make sure Algiers is not out there. I mean, how is he still not all the way picked up? I don't know why, but Algiers against Miami, easy, easy pickup. There's no way he should be out there in your leagues, guys. He should have been long scooped up. We've talked about that on the waiver wire show for a while now. Excuse me. He has no business being on the waiver wire. So those are really my 3 guys. I'll see if I can pick out a deep sleeper here. Sean Tucker's interesting, but the snap share just isn't there for him. Uh, and that's pretty much it. Jaden Blue's a guy I want to keep an eye on. I'm not going to recommend him for this, but if this starts to increase, keep an eye on him. Okay, let's get into receivers, wide receivers. So I think we actually have some decent options this week at wide receiver. Number one option out there, he probably got dropped to a lot of waiver wires out there after, it was a strong start to the season, especially after week 2. Week 3, he probably went for some crazy price on your waiver wire, and now he's back on the waivers. I don't think he should be on waivers necessarily. I mean, he's not a every week starting player, but he's a spot starter, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I just think a lot of people probably, they overpaid for him, they got mad at him, they dropped him. That's just how it is. But Troy Franklin going against the Cowboys, who are absolutely torn up at corner. I mean, Trayvon Diggs is still not going to play. God knows what's going on with that. So, their backup corners are basically you could pick your poison. Mims, Franklin should both have solid days, in my opinion. Troy Franklin is a guy where I still think there's some sort of connection there with Bo Nix just due to the fact that they go way back to their college days. I still expect him to be relevant. I think the snap share is concerning, which is why he's not going to be an every week starter. But with the Dallas corner situation being what it is, I mean, I think Troy Franklin's a very solid spot start. I don't see him getting a 12-point game. I mean, 10 targets last week was pretty crazy to only have 3 catches, but uh, somewhat of a red zone threat. I mean, they run those, play action crosser where they'll get them, open on those, excuse me, those sprint options in the flat, throw them the ball there. You see that play a lot with Troy Franklin. So I could see one of those plays being being a thing for him. But ultimately, I think this is just one of those cases where he's a spot start versus a very bad defense. So Troy Franklin still 30% owned. Get on him if he's out there. Another guy out there that I like this week too, Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel only out there in 11% of leagues. What I've thought about Houston is they really miss Tank Dell. They really miss a slot receiver, and Jalen Noel, has shown some signs that he could possibly be that guy to step in and rise to the occasion. This week they're without Nico Collins. The 49ers defense has been slightly above average. I mean, they would be a good defense if they had Bosa, but they're slightly above the average defense. And Noel really seemed to be the only guy in that Monday night game that stepped up when Nico Collins got hurt. I mean, Dalton Schultz is there, but he's really just whatever. Nobody's scared of Dalton Schultz. Jalen Noel is the only guy that I thought brought some explosion. Jaden Higgins, he really didn't show much to me at all. I think Noel would be the guy, and anybody's going to step up. And 11 points last week ain't bad at all considering how bad that offensive output is. I think they'll got to do a little bit better this week, or at least he will versus the 49ers. So 11% owned. I think that should be a lot higher. I don't know if you'd say he's a must roster guy, but definitely a guy that I think is a great guy to kick the tires on this week, just for the volume's sake. I don't know if Stroud really trusts anyone else in that receiver room aside from Jalen Noel. So just the volume alone. I mean, you're looking at 8 targets this week for this guy. Pick him up, see what you got. I think it's a perfect emergency option. And I've said this before, guys. All we're looking for these guys, we're looking for, 10 points, eight to 10 points. I mean, these are guys that are sitting on the waiver wire. These aren't guys that are stars. These are not guys that are going to, contribute to your team on an every week basis. They're bye week fill-ins. Okay. And if we hit 10 points on all these guys that we're talking about, we're geniuses. That's hard. I mean, anybody out there can pick big time players, trade for big time players, and say they're good. That's not really genius, in my opinion. That's any bozo can do that. Um, I think becoming a savvy fantasy player is about scavenging the waiver wire at this time of night where nobody else gives a crap and finding those, gems, if you will, that could pop on Sunday. Um, and that's pretty much all I got. A receiver, Darius Slayton, if he plays, throw a dart, but I'm not really confident about that. Rashad Bateman would be a decent guy to throw a dart on. I think Lamar's coming back. Chicago's a pretty weak defense. That's something to keep an eye on as well. But I'm more confident in the first 2 guys we mentioned. Going over to tight end, let's look at. Let's make sure Mason Taylor is still. I mean, guys, 34% rostered. What are we doing, man? I know he's not a superstar, but Mason Taylor should be picked up in a lot more leagues out there. He is the number 1 receiver for the Jets right now, if we're being honest. Without Garrett Wilson there, he's the number 1 receiver. So going against a cupcake matchup for Cincinnati, looks like he'll was listed as questionable. I can't see the practice reports now, but it sounded like he was going to play. Um, the thing is, he got added Thursday, which is a little bit of a concern. But if Mason Taylor plays, he's a definite pickup at tight end. Another guy out there that we liked a lot of the pre-draft process, Colston Loveland. Cole Kmet is going to be hurt this week, and there's a chance Colston Loveland can step in and be a contributor this week at tight end. Big time, like a relevant contributor. I mean, it's hard not to laugh at, if I'm being honest with you, looking at this number so far. But that snap share might go over 70% for the first time all year, and Baltimore's been susceptible to tight ends. I mean, I don't know exactly where they rank in terms of points allowed, but I can actually look that up right now real quick. Let's see. Baltimore is 25th in the league in tight end points allowed to the tight end. So, yeah, I mean, without Cole Kmet, I mean, I don't really think Cole Kmet was doing much anyway, but this might pave the way for Colson Loveland to have a breakout game. And this is kind of a little bit of a deep sleeper as well. I mean, this guy was a 10th round pick in a lot of high stakes draft this year, 10th overall pick in the regular reality draft. Um, Ton of upside here. I mean, you know, we'll see what happens when Cole Kmet comes back, but I mean, they spent a high draft pick on this guy. They want to get this guy involved. So if you guys are, I mean, I think it's a perfect upside stash for tight end if you guys are in a deep, deep pinch. Um, and then another guy out there also keep an eye on Darnell Washington, a guy I liked a lot in the pre-draft process. 6'7", 265 pounds. The guy is an absolute freaking tank. The only problem is they're rotating like crazy between tight ends. I mean, they have Freiermuth, they have Janu Smith, so it's going to be very hard to spread the ball around. But he's a red zone threat due to his big frame. Believe it or not, he's like a 4'6" guy. So he's got some really off the charts athleticism. Um, and it might take a little while for him, but I think he's finally starting to get it and grow a little bit of a chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. 5 targets in each of the last 2 games, so I think that could stay up a little bit. And Green Bay is, let's see where they rank in tight end points allowed. Green Bay is second to last in tight end points allowed, so very good matchup as well. So expect him to step in and do a little something. But that's pretty much it, guys. Those are your emergency options this week. I think there should be one guy at each position that is on your waiver wires right now. I mean, I gave you the top guys, but I gave you some deeper guys as well. So let's get into some deep sleepers. My number one deep sleeper this week is Devin Neal, who we did a video on. If you guys scroll back to the off season, we did a video. It was called Four Deep Sleeper Rookies. We talked about Blue, we talked about Devin Neal, we talked about Samson, and we talked about Tootin on the Jaguars. Devin Neal is a player I liked a lot out of Kansas. He was a 4-star recruit, produced 4,000 yards in college, and was just an overall very, very solid back. Didn't have a great 40 time, so he dropped in the draft to the 6th round. And, you know, Kendra, I think he's just going to take the Kendre Miller role, and that's kind of proven that that's a rosterable, viable role in fantasy. And then obviously you still have another week or two of the swindling concerns of Alvin Kamara trade, which I still don't think is going to happen, but you just never know. It's worth rostering. And Kamara's also getting old, and he's been popping up on the injury report. That's another thing to monitor. So look, I could definitely see a game down the line where Devin Neal starts. I mean, just due to injury or something happening. I mean, it's very possible. And the Saints are not going anywhere. They could take Kamara off and just say, "Hey, man, we're not going to waste the miles on you when we're 1-10." You know, they're just going to let the young guys fly. And I could definitely see them later in the year seeing what they have with Devin Neal, and it's an offense you want some pieces of, considering that it's fast pace. They're always behind, and they're always going to be throwing the ball, checking the ball down. I think this is where Neal can come in to play a little bit, but um, they Kellen Moore wants to run the ball as well. So uh, I think at the very worst, he takes over for that Kendre Miller role, and he is a rosterable player. So Devin Neal, we talked about him a little bit on the waiver show. He probably slipped through the cracks just because it's not a sexy name, but I like Devin Neal a lot. I think you guys should pick him up. Another deep sleeper out there. Let's see. Well, it's not a deep sleeper. Before we get to a deep sleeper, just out of curiosity. Okay, that's not a sleeper. All right, but my next deep sleeper out there, Gunnar Helm on the Tennessee Titans. He was a guy. What was he on recruiting services coming into the league? He was only a 3-star recruit. That was interesting. You would think it'd be higher considering all the competition that they had at Texas for tight ends with Jatavian Sanders. I mean, but Gunnar Helm coming in, was a fifth round pick, showed some really good pre-draft measurables, got some speed to him, and slowly but surely he's taking over Chiggy Okonkwo's role as the number one tight end, and it's proven that it's somewhat of a viable fantasy role. I mean, tight ends are hell. Excuse me, tight ends are hell. A lot of you guys are dying out there who pick Brock Bowers and Hawkinson and Andrews. I mean, you guys are just absolutely getting killed right now. So you're looking for tight ends. I think Gunnar Helm, if you're in a deep, deep pinch, especially for you guys in those deep leagues out there, I mean, he's only 2% owned in 12-man leagues. Um, Gunnar Helm's a perfect guy that can come in and possibly be a 10 point per game type of player for you. Tennessee's overall receiving room is a complete mess. I mean, Ridley's hurt. Iomenor's kind of up and down. DK's a up and down player. There really hasn't been any standout performances, and even Chiggy himself hasn't been doing that well. So I could definitely see Tennessee as the year goes along rolling out more rookies. I mean, they have nothing to play for. They're not going anywhere. And as you can see, a little bit of a report on the side here, his offensive role is steadily growing. He's taken over Chiggy Okonkwo's snaps. So Cam Ward, rookie quarterback, I think he's going to continue to check the ball down just because that's what rookie quarterbacks do. And again, looking at this tight end and looking at this overall receiver room, it's looking pretty sad right now. So somebody's got to step up. I'm going to take a deep sleeper dart and say that Gunnar Helm is possibly that guy. I'm not going to say he's the Aronde Gatson. Aronde Gatson, I was pretty confident in him. We already talked about him multiple times, so I'm not saying he's that at all. But take a shot on him if he's out there. But anyway, guys, that is it. That's all we got. If you have any questions, go ahead and hop on the Discord and a link in the description below. Fire away with your start sits, your trade questions, whatever you got. Join the Patreon, $5 a month, and you are in the club, and you could ask away whatever you want. We got more stuff coming, but it's only $5 a month for now. So why not join the community and let's enjoy Sundays together and build this thing to a point where we have everyone helping everyone out, trying to win some mother effing money. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday for the waiver wire show. Until then, good luck.